What is up, party people? Talking about the glory of Donald J. Trump, our man, our savior, our leader, our hero.
Are you a big Trump fan, actually?
Yeah, I like Trump.
Wait, introduce yourself real quick, just in case people don't know.
Hello, my name is Lauren DeLaguna, and I'm on YouTube and X, and I like to fight people on Twitter.
Based. Okay, hold on. Wick has a big debate coming up tonight.
Ooh,
Wick,
fun.
do you want to preview this real quick? Because I know Lauren wants to fight you a little bit on this.
I wanted to physically fight you.
But wait, let
physically fight? I'm down.
Private. I told you that in private. I can't believe you're just like airing out my dirty laundry.
If you guys want to fight, go ahead. That's cool.
Let me
tell them about the debate first.
Tell the debate first.
Before you guys
get to the fisticuffs later.
Okay. Fisticuffs.
So tonight, at about 7:30, we're going to have Ian Crossland from Tim Pool, right? And
my boyfriend.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is that true?
Well, we dated for 3 days. It was fun. Go ahead.
Fair enough. But Destiny is actually going to be talking to him. We're going to talk about can we trust the electoral system in America? Has it failed us as voters? It's an interesting topic. I think there's a lot of discussion around that, especially around the 2020 election, and it's worth discussing. It's worth talking about. What about you? Do you think it's failed us?
Has the electoral system failed us? Is that your question?
Can we trust our votes?
Currently, I don't believe our elections are as secure as they could possibly be. I think the things that would create a secure election are things that conservatives have been fighting for and something. So like single day voting, no mass mail out ballots, voter ID, having a end time for like a strict start and end time, having it for the open polls, having a time in which all the ballots will be counted by, having if you have
But so I've heard this argument several times, and it seems to me like you're trying to fix a problem that doesn't exist. We know that the fraud in our system, in our electoral system, currently is very, very low. It's insignificant.
How do you know that?
How do I know that? We've done data. We've looked at the amounts of people who have been charged for fraud and things like that.
Right, so just because fraud hasn't necessarily been found or prosecuted, and I would...
Secret fraud, hidden?
Well, all fraud is intended to be secret. People don't typically be like, hey guys, I committed fraud. It was awesome. Let me make a YouTube video about it. Now, sometimes they do, but then they usually get caught. And then there's people who talk about how dumb they were for talking about the fraud. So yeah, typically fraud is secret.
Well, can I ask you a question? But how do you okay, never mind.
Well, that's
go ahead.
But if then how do you know that there's an issue of mass fraud or that it needs to be addressed if you can't get the data on it, because the data that is collected isn't trustable by your standards, but also you can't collect it because they're not telling you? We
just know from, first of all, we have done studies on previous elections and on elections in other countries, and we know our 3-letter agencies have created a list of things to do to create the most secure possible election, as looking at other countries and seeing elections that have been fraudulent or stolen.
I understand, but those are other countries.
When the list of things that they have said, no, in totality, it's just about election security, and the things that you can do to make the election the most secure are the things that the conservatives are fighting for. Voter ID, one-day voting, no mass mail out.
The most secure election is one that doesn't happen. There's no fraud if you don't. So obviously, right, we can make it more secure, but there will be
technically be the
dude. This debate sounds epic. We're gonna have to wait for next round. We got to bring somebody else in. Wick, thank you for previewing it. Thank you for sharing stuff with us.
Of course.
Oh wait, I'll stay.
Give the mic to Steven.
Oh, okay. Wick can stay.
Hi guys, what's up?
Welcome, Steven. Hello.
She's telling us about Trump and how he's cool.
So what do you think about that exchange right there? Who won?
It's okay. Tell the truth.
Tell the truth. Our elections are probably pretty secure. I know that bothers conservatives, but...
Get wrecked. Take that out.
As long as the stork says it.
True.
Damn.
You're not bringing that energy you had for Wick right now to him.
Sorry, this little dwarf says it? What's the energy? What kind of insults do you want me throwing?
You gonna take that?
I think the problem, when it comes to voter stuff, I think the problem is both sides lie. I think the Democrats lie a little bit, but I think conservatives lie a lot. I think if you wanted to have a secure election, I think that if a conservative would have put forth a measure where you're offering to send a free identification card to every single person in the state and then have that at what?
I think
you might say fine.
No, there's a lot of conservatives that if you're willing to give, okay, if we're gonna require voter ID, then a lot of conservatives would be like, okay, fine, then the Democrats make very good point that we should make IDs accessible, easily accessible, and free.
Sure.
If we're going to
historically, though, I don't know if conservatives actually care about that. I think they just don't want like certain people, like black people and poor people, to vote.
That's just not true. Especially, especially when Trump is running for election, we want as many black people out.
You absolutely do not want as many black people. Not every single black person.
Black people love Trump.
Yeah, they're not all the one guy on Twitter that raps about Trump. I'm sorry, but the average black person is probably
If you like it. Look at South Carolina. How do you think that Trump would do in South Carolina? We saw the what's it called, the primaries, and Biden got 96% of the vote. Everyone was saying, oh, black people aren't excited to vote for Biden. That just doesn't seem to be true. We seem to see, again, high voter turnout and high, they want to vote, right? 96%, that's a lot. That's a huge amount.
Are you doing, so you're judging it off 2024 primaries and not 2020?
That is one data point, but that's not the only data point we got.
And 2020 Trump election
Let's look at the historical precedent of how black people in America have voted.
Yes, I absolutely think we should, because we could see that the dramatic trend upward starting in 2016, then 2020 specifically because Trump ran. Black people like Trump. Look, if Ron DeSantis won the Republican primaries, I don't think that I would be like, okay, maybe I would prefer if, like, you know, then black people might not be as excited to vote for Trump.
Right?
But people,
you only want black people to vote if they vote for who you think you want.
Well, I only want anyone to vote, like any race. I don't, it's not like particular towards blacks, but like if it was like Asians, if Asians were all going to vote for Biden, then I wouldn't want.
Extend the vote to everyone regardless of how they vote, because I believe in democracy. And that's the difference between you and me.
I believe in democracy.
You believe in the power.
Don't let them say that to
I believe in democracy, and I don't think that, so like for instance in Australia, they require everybody to vote. That is really forcing everybody to vote.
I don't care what Australia does.
No, you're not hearing me out. It's
not rude.
It's just about.
Hold on, can we just take a moment to appreciate how much you got destroyed there? Oh my God.
It's not just about the most people voting. It's not just about having the maximum people voting. It's about having the people who care about the elections, who are informed about the issues, voting. And we would like the maximum amount of people to be informed and want to vote. However, it's not just getting as many people out there to vote, especially if they're completely innocent.
I think I don't want to just fist fight.
I don't want to.
Yeah, bring it. No,
I don't want to pile on, but is there? I don't want to pile on at all. But is there any concern that if you put all these measures in place, like single-day voting, that therefore the amount of people that are voting is going to go down, and then you're not going to have a representative voter sample for the population? Then certain groups of people who work on election day, or people who couldn't make it out, who would have voted if they could have mailed it in, they can't vote.
Yeah, so I would want, if we're going to be doing all of these things that conservatives want, if we're going to be doing all the things that conservatives want to make this election as secure as possible, I think the conservatives are going to have to come the other way and make it as easy as possible for people to vote.
How do you do that with single? Wait, but how could you?
Well, for instance, like making it a national holiday on election day. That's something Democrats typically want.
Let's do that
making
first.
free.
Show good faith. If that is how you want to do it, if we can make the voting day a national holiday.
This is such a non-issue. Conservatives don't want to do that. Any of this.
I think
they don't. When the courts have looked at how conservatives have tried to do like voter ID and shit in the past, like I think in North Carolina, I'm pretty sure the phrase was surgically targets black voters to disenfranchise them from voting. So when they tried to disbar certain IDs that they used, when they tried to shut down certain polling places they wanted to use, and when they tried to get rid of early voting that black people predominantly use, and when they sit here and
student IDs as well.
What? Sorry, he flipped me off for like 10 minutes. I don't know why he's just screaming at me. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think conservatives have any interest in increasing the amount of voter people. Like, look at all the crying out against like the mail-out no request ballots or whatever for mail-in voting. Like, why so upset?
About the mail-in voting, because it's not as secure as this in-person voting, in which you can actually look at someone's ID.
Why have conservatives who have disproportionately enjoyed mail-in ballots because of like military voting and everything overseas for years never complained about the security of mail-in ballots? Why is it that so many of the state statutes that were charged with being corrupt and unfair passed by Republican legislatures and nobody ever changed them before the election?
You're conflating ideas.
That's right. Tell her.
So, for instance, mass mail-out voting is very different than the military absentee ballots, which is like, so it's a completely, so you're trying to conflate those ideas because conservatives typically represent the military and are going to be voting absentee ballot, but the way that the 2020 election was held was completely unique, and the vast majority of mail-in ballots from that election were not military.
But why is it that 12 states that used the mail-out ballots with no request mail-out ballots, Trump won anyway? Like the idea that these are like historically insecure, there's no data for it. He won states that use these, so there's no reason to, what?
He didn't win that election.
No. Okay. But but he didn't win the states he needed to. But I mean, who cares? I mean, it's not like Trump doesn't need the popular vote to win anyway. He lost the popular vote against Hillary by what? 3 million votes? 5 million votes? 4 million votes?
But he won that election.
He did win, and he did win against Biden. But what's the point?
Because I think that.
And remember, gang, this is a preview for tonight.
Yes.
FYI.
2020 was significantly less secure.
It wasn't. It was officials under a Trump administration that said this is the most secure election we've ever had. Trump officials.
That's actually why I know that they said it, but the fact that they said it does not make that true.
Where's the proof that it's not true?
Oh, okay. Come on, chill. We don't want to 1 versus 100 here. We got a whole bunch.
The one conservative. That's the one that's
we love her though. We love her.
How many elections in the United States? We love her. A gangbang of 20v1 featuring Jasmine Jafar. Only one bitch gets fucked.
If Republicans were to actually come forward, saying we want to make this a national holiday, we want to issue a voter ID to everybody in the state, I think Democrats have a really hard time fighting against that. I think it would look kind of crazy because, rightfully pointed out, there's a lot of European countries, most or all, I think, require like voter IDs anyway.
It's actually a really good point. Speaking of national holidays, do you know what date is today?
Am I allowed to make your mom jokes?
Super Bowl!
Yeah.
Super Bowl Sunday! Let's go! Taylor Swift ruined the
I literally forgot it was Super Bowl. I'm not going to I was going to Swift into something else.
Another national holiday.
Do you know what day it is today?
Let me check my Google Calendar. I don't know.
It's the last day of your canvassing event.
Oh my god.
That's a national holiday?
It will be soon.
Oh.